So manipulated outrage is all about how the media and even the way that we interact with each other sometimes makes us feel outrage for good reason, but also sometimes for bad reasons. So the cable news industry is great at this, right? Because they know what makes us really angry. And so they serve it up. And what do? We share it with each other. And then Facebook's algorithm, for example, looks at that, and they released a study, I think several months ago, saying that once you see these stories that make you angry and you click the angry button, which they added, right? They didn't add the throw tomato button, but they did add an angry button. Then what does the algorithm do? The algorithm goes through that and says, oh, you must enjoy being angry. Let me give you more articles to make you angrier. And it's a cycle that starts reversing the way that you should interact with the world and just making you angry. Sometimes for no reason, sometimes for good reason. Stephen Crowley is a really interesting example. He's a designer. And his daughter was suffering from a medical condition, and so he decided, in order to have some fun with the family, that he would Photoshop her in variously dangerous situations. So here's an example of his daughter, Hannah, holding a really long kitchen knife or playing on the stairs, and he posted them. And you can imagine what happened next. All sorts of people super outraged. How could you do this? What kind of parent are you? And what started as a joke turned into like this big deal. And poor Stephen's like, look, I just wanted to have some fun because, she was going through this thing. But we're ready for the outrage. In fact, sometimes the outrage is justified. But we don't consider that when outrage becomes our identity, can we ever not be outraged? Do we have to feel outrage in every situation? Because if we describe ourselves as being outraged, now we're all the way over here. And maybe we don't have a way of coming back. Maybe we don't have a way of being less outraged. So the stealable idea here for what we need to think about is how do we respect that outrage? Because it's not enough to say, well, you shouldn't feel outraged, because who are you to tell someone they shouldn't be outraged, right? We can't dictate that for someone else. Can't be angry at someone for eating a donut if you're on a diet. Doesn't work that way, right? You have to actually respect the outrage, but we can rise above it. We don't have to keep going through this cycle. So whether we're creating content, whether we're sharing ideas, whatever we're putting out into the world, let's rise above the outrage, because we can, if we recognize it. And that's the key. We have to recognize it.